Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jarviskjir Mother's Love, the show brought to you by me. How are you all doing?
I'm okay. I just evolved the shiny Bonsley.
I saw you had a shiny Bonsley, and I was very jealous because Bonsley is shit, but Sudowoodo is my favourite.
Can we just talk about this? Like, it's.
I was honestly expecting Ollie to start this with "brought to you by me and these chuckle fucks."
I don't say chuckle fuck.
It's
That's
definitely
not part of my
Bonsley.
vocabulary, especially during the part of the stream my mum watches.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Sorry, Ollie's mum. Hi.
It's definitely Bonsley.
Bonsley.
Ooh, Sponsley.
It's a
It's not
Bonsley.
It was.
He's not from
it was
Yorkshire. You
but
don't go
in
around
the
the corner.
anime, I'm pretty
"Hello,
sure
Bonsley."
we have to, because Brock had a Bonsley. Brock knows best. He'll say it right.
Yeah, Brock knows those jelly donuts.
Brock's American.
Donuts, my favorite.
I feel like I'm too old for this meme somehow. Is this
No,
what the
it's-
future's like? Is this what it's like to be a boomer?
Meme. It's a meme that gets made fun of in weeb communities because basically Brock holds out some rice balls and the
Oh,
saying
yes! Fucking like a 90s translators. What are you doing?
yeah, exactly.
Wow,
I enjoy that.
that is funny. But you know what isn't funny? War.
Next 4 hours.
Whoa! Most
That's not
likely true. So, last time, you took on the War Strider, the executioner and also the overseer of the factory districts of Narashiro. It was a hard battle, and in fact, Serena fell in that battle.
F's in chat.
You left
Serena.
quite publicly, considering a lot of you are meant to be dead officially, and managed to get aid from Tanuma number 2, who has been researching the shadow cults in the city. She took you back to her lair, where, because she's a cloner, she takes her to the secret cloning facility underneath her laboratory. Take your pick, and starts the process of cloning Serena. Then we started pretty much saying, hey, it's going to be a long period of downtime, what do you want to do? You decided you want to stay, so we got a whole bunch of downtime to deal with first of all. We discussed kind of the immediate, kind of 2 weeks or so after you made this deal. You're staying here. You're staying at Tanuma's lab, which is far away from Narashiro, about 3 weeks away, with quite a bit of terrain in between. That you're going to stay here. So those first 2 weeks were Indira and Vale helping Tuna set this place back up, because it had been ransacked, it had been burnt by someone, broken windows, things like that. So the first few weeks are replacing windows, resetting traps, making this place a bit more livable and also hidden, as it was once before. Of course, if someone knew, the place, they'd be able to find it again if one of those looters returns. But that's just a risk you have to take, because you want to stay as close as possible to Serena while she's in the cloning process. So,
I had to kill gurgly robots.
you had to kill gurgly robot squids. After those 2 weeks, after a lot of that setting up, it really comes to what do you guys want to do. You have just over 100 days, at least according to Tanuma, for the cloning to... the cloning basically grows until it's fully grown, and that should be in around 100 days. You already seen that it's starting to work. There's a little baby mermaid tadpole in the big brass cloning tank.
So cute.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. So, with that in mind, with a whole bunch of downtime, and that you're staying here, what is it you guys want to do? Now, of course, you don't have to stay here. You could go off and do things and come back, but I don't think that's really what you guys are thinking of doing. Hopefully, you've thought of lots of ideas.
I've thought of about Jack. That's it.
Oh no.
So Indira has definitely been thinking about trying to make some money because she wants to get her axe enchanted.
It's funny you say that.
They have
Didn't you
capacity for it here.
Didn't you get a weird box from this base before? A big case?
Me?
Mm-hmm. Put it in a bag of holding.
Oh, if okay, I would have left it up to Diener to record that.
You found something referred to as Manbreaker that was locked.
That does sound familiar now that you say it.
Was I here? Because I don't have it written down.
It's gone into the ether.
It is in the bag of holding you specifically described putting it in, and I remember.
Me?
Doxy put it in the bag of holding.
Okay.
Might not be written in there, but it did happen because you did get it. It was a locked container you found here.
I do remember this now that
Put
you
it in the
mention
bag of holding because it was a big, unwieldy thing. Clearly a weapon, but
So
it's a
what-
weapon in a case. So maybe you could show it to the person who made it.
All right. Hey, looky.
Yeah, you could show her this, and she would actually happily unlock it for you because you're working together at the moment. I say happily. On the way here, you know, Tanuma's tried to be pretty friendly with Vale. She's not the most social person. So I guess happy isn't the right term, but, you know, kind of accepting of this idea. And when she goes through the process to unlock it, using some, you know, artificer, inventor, magic to basically disable the lock they created on the case opens up with steam and mist coming from it, revealing a maul similar to the one you already had, but very different in design. This is designed to be a little less delicate. The maul you have was made by elves for elves, right? There is a bright reddish, that kind of reddish pink glow coming from the center that kind of like goes between the head, right? And it radiates with strong magic. This maul, Manbreaker, is actually a very powerful magical weapon, right? It is a +2 enchanted weapon.
Ooh.
And also, when attacking a humanoid, it deals an additional 2d6 damage. And a humanoid is pretty much every sentient race. Right?
It's pretty snaz. 2d6.
You muted, Mel. Docs. E.
With rage, that thing would be fucking unstoppable. So I'm gonna just hang on to this.
Yeah, she'll say it's probably better in your hands than anyone else's. It was made for the War Strider, and she's now without a head anyway.
Here, you can have this one, and I give her my old one.
She's like, oh. She's not strong
I
enough to
don't know,
hold
maybe
it.
you can do something with it.
But yeah, she might be able to, because it is enchanted. She would actually start researching the enchantment on that, because if you remember, that was enchanted by the sea elves, right? And most of the time, I imagine, you would be staying in the big open lab chamber, the one with the big windows that look out of, the one where you may have killed 2 out of 5 Tanumas. It's not only been set up as a little bit of a lab, but also, you know, a bit of a camp, because this isn't actually the most homely place, but you can, you know, set up bedrolls and stuff like that, and warm with magical fire and stuff like that. But she would have a little bit of space here with some of her books that weren't burnt, or new books and things, and would start researching the axe there in some of her time.
I'm trying to think if Gilman would probably just be learning a new spell in that time. Just practicing, growing a beard.
Gillen's growing a beard. That's important.
Takes a lot of effort.
Big energy.
Dean's still not mastered it.
D&D is about escapism.
That is funny because, like, for the last season, Gilwin's had like a little baby beard, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming in. So I'm looking at things you can do in downtime. Unfortunately, because you kind of locked yourselves in, unless you're kind of imaginative with it, you don't have the biggest choices.
I can be imaginative. Ding!
I mean, please do,
So-
right?
so,
you have this lab, you have
so-
beyond it the caves and stuff like that.
It's a lab, it's a cloning chamber, and also the general area is underdark. There are probably venomous plants, poisonous plants and venomous creatures in the locale.
Yeah.
Combine that with the fact we have a lab literally designed for creating sentient bodies. Vale may tickle the idea upon Tanuma of what would happen if you had a poison, but then you designed it to enter, say, a drow system specifically to work most effectively. And then he is idly playing with the poison dagger and like pushes a button and it like you hear like a little tss, and no poison.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then
It's definitely possible. I'm not an expert on poisons, but it would definitely be possible to create a poison that specifically only affects one creature. The implication of creating something like that is, I mean, there would be a lot of danger involved. If you were to say, if it was ingestible and you put it in a bloodstream, that would be a... But it's definitely plausible.
if in the same way that some of some magics work, that if you are familiar or you have something of the person, we did this with the you guys actually. We went to your favorite opera house and we took took a hair, and it let us find out where you were. Yeah, it might not have been yours, but one of the Tanumas. You happen to be very similar. And
yes, divination magic can do such things. If you were creating a poison in this way, it would need magic instead of just raw herbalism. Divination magic would be what you would have to imbue the poison with. Which would make it less stealthy if someone were to detect magic on you.
But what if we were to possess something of the person that we wish to poison and explicitly tailor it for them? For example, an amount of the daimyo's body.
The science checks out. It would definitely be possible. It would be quite difficult. I would have to research a lot on poisons. I'd need a new library of books. Or maybe find a poisoner in the city who'd be willing to create such a thing. But definitely the science checks out. It's definitely possible, Vale. You don't have anything of a daimyo's body, do you?
Yeah, we took a lock of hair.
I took the clone's hair.
Which is the same as the daimyo.
Biologically the same. Although that depends on whether divination magic works on a soul basis or a biological basis, which is...
But seeing as that creature hadn't awoken a vessel for her soul.
There's definitely
so what
some
you're
messy
saying is
grey
the soul
areas
might
here.
not have let like a fingerprint. I get it.
The whole meaning, not necessarily meaning, effect of the soul is something we were researching quite heavily before
Yeah, before.
things ceased. souls are much more complicated than the church would lead you to believe. I think with a powerful enough magic and time and us working together, if Gilwyn can cast such divination magic, then he can definitely have an effect on this. One of the easiest ways to do any kind of arcana tech or alchemy is to imbue spells that you can already spellcraft, right? So
I see. So you could generate a poison and imbue it with the spell.
yes.
I see. And could you generate this poison imbued with the spell in the form of a vapor? Or would it have to be...
It would depend on the type of poison. Most poisons are quite specific in how they work in an organic body. When you have ones that don't, that's quite rare, but you can sometimes find them in black markets in Narashiro or other places. We're not as far away from civilization as you might think. While we're further away from the Drow of Narashiro, some usurper elves of the forest that aren't allied to the city in any way do have communities out here. They're a different breed, a different candor. They use poisons in their weaponry more than the armies of Narashiro do.
What would the chances of me going and speaking with them without being shot be?
You can disguise yourself. You could disguise yourself as something a bit more close to them. She will actually go through some of her books. And of course, she doesn't have that many books. She doesn't have that many books for an inventor who used to have a lot of books. She does have a lot of books, right? And she will show you like a sketch, not done by her, by whoever has this book is about. And it seems to be of the different kinds of usurper elves of Drow in the world. And this party I don't think seen any, but there are some usurper elves who live a little more closer to the land. And they don't live in the kind of houses and politics and things. They wear hides of Underdark beasts and things, which looks incredibly extravagant because Underdark beasts are strange. And sort of taps it. It's like, if you could make yourself look like something like this, and then I think it's safe to say that you're quite a charismatic individual. You're quite charming, even though you don't talk the way they do and walk the way they do. I'm sure you could make kind of friends, and then maybe be able to get some good poison out of them.
You think I'm charming?
I think you have a way with words. But I am not interested in you romantically or sexually, Eravale.
Vale blushes when she says this, and he's like, "What? No, I wasn't. I just meant. Like,
I know what boys your age are like.
No. I'm not. I swear I'm.
I'm not even interested in the type of thing you are."
Indira slides in.
Well, I was actually gonna say she kind of like nods her head to like Indira in the back of the chamber or something, because this is a really big room. You're usually like kind of in that, and she like this doom has been. She had a lot of that kind of like fake shadow culty smile and sensuality about her, but it was clearly an act. But she kind of does do a bit of that smile to try and teach Vale that lesbians exist.
I imagine as she indicates to Indira at the back end of the chamber, she's like flinging around her new maul, like making stupid noises.
Swoosh,
Like, Wah.
It definitely, that red light I mentioned on it, it like leaves a trail through the air.
I love it.
Manbreaker.
I remember this. We found it right at the end, and we were like, "What is it? Is it like some orange goop machine?" Because it was in a big box.
Yeah.
I remember. I feel like they mass-produced them at some point.
No, there was just one.
Okay, good. Yeah, Vale blushes profusely and is like, maybe I'll go find one of these mushroom elves then.
Don't call them mushroom elves. That's
But
incredibly
that's what they
racist.
are. They're not wood
incredibly
elves.
racist.
That's not. You're not. Hey, I'm an elf. I can say what they are. All right.
You're not like me. You're not like them.
What do you mean? I am an elf. You're an elf. See, you're the reason that we have this problem. Yeah, that's right.
She'll just like turn and go into the basement at that.
I'm going to go find some mushroom elves. You can't come though because you're not as charming as me, Tanuma says.
Okay.
Vel like does a little spin, and he's a drow with like some tribal markings, and he's a bit more naked.
Bit more naked, like probably the hide of an Underdark monster you've killed, like a hook horror or something like that.
A beautiful, beautiful. Oh yeah. Hide. A beautiful bit of mushroom bark on his shoulder, strapped there.
Okay, so the nice thing about this is because we're kind of doing a downtime thing, right? There's only really going to be one roll here, and this actually there might be two. Might be two. Let me look at your stats, Mr. Vale. Let me have a little DM snoop. And are you sure you don't want anyone to help? You're on a little solo adventure?
They're all kind of busy. Serena's like growing.
Yeah, Serena cannot help. Serena is a baby.
Tuxie's
Right
Indira
now.
is busy doing terrible things with her manbreaker. And Gilwyn's like
He's just eating a lot.
reading something.
Growing a beard.
Growing a
growing
beard.
a
Very
beard.
focused.
And Vel knows how
Sarah would have
important that
totally
is.
gone with you for what is it? Like she was excited to get out there.
Yeah.
But it's okay if you wanted to go alone.
No. I mean, you think Vel would say no when Indira's like, I'll come with you.
I like to imagine you said, "Oh, I'm going out there on your own," and then like an hour later you come back and like, "What did you want to come with?" Like he only just realizes when he's like half an hour away and comes back is totally accurate. In which case, I think Indira might have the better survival roll. Survival or nature?
Almost certain that
Yeah.
she does.
Excuse me?
In which case, give me a survival with advantage. This is to kind of find where these elves would stay. Where they would be. That's good enough. Because you have a lot of time, right? And this does take you like a week of you two going around this part of the Underdark exploring, which is honestly pretty fun, right? There's not a lot of stress. You're never too far away from the house, and because the house is on a cavern wall, and you kind of know where that is, and you know all of the illusions of it, you can kind of tell where it is and can tell how far away from home you are. I described when you were going to fight Tanuma that the area in front of this base is a flame-scorched fungal forest. Something happened here so long ago where mostly it is these withered, burnt remains. For some reason, still burn with fire. Ground is still coated in embers. Ash floats through the air. You fought a big, fiery mushroom creature here before when you were exploring. So it takes a bit of time going through this kind of environment to find what you're looking for. It's when you get to a little bit of a more normal place where it looks like some of this is starting to regrow. You notice signs of civilization, but of course a very different type of civilization. A civilization that's much more to nature and to the ground. You notice tarps of hides that are semi-hidden, semi-camouflaged in the environment. Dark colours that almost make it look like a continuation of the fungal forest and the rock. That makes this kind of small circular community that looks like a little bit of a trading post. You would have seen a lot of places like this on islands when you were exploring Indira. You know, you hear music as you approach that, yeah, it's still elven, right? But it's being played on a bone
It's a bit mushroomy.
flute. It's a bit mushroomy.
Pheromones.
Oh, I've definitely described some races using pheromones. These guys probably not, sadly.
Pheromones.
Pheromones are, they make the
Pheromone.
very
Fucking
spacey,
weird.
horror-y, ooh. That's
Pheromone.
how you do it.
I'm still
I
convinced theremins aren't a real
Ah.
instrument and that people just move their hands around and hum all funky.
I once tried to get my parents to buy me a theremin. I'm glad they didn't, because I would never have used it, but still.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's a
I've
cool
learned
thing.
something today.
There's about 3 of the usurper elves here, and they are pretty much what Vale would have, as Vale saw in the sketch. They wear the hides, a little bit of bone, a little bit more natural things, but still in a very elven way. Everything's very deliberately placed to make them look beautiful. They're not like some of the samurai you've seen where they've almost a different breed in that they're far stronger and tougher elves. They're still lithe and fast. They're very keen. You get the impression that you were seen quite a while before you saw them. And while one of them is playing music, the other 2 are standing and kind of arms crossed, watching you 2 approach as you like stumble through a mushroom hedge towards the camp.
See, I told you they were mushroom elves.
Never disagree.
Yeah, but... Okay, fine. Fair enough.
Friend or foe? Distant ally.
Not foe, probably friends. Probably like...
You don't
hopefully-
sound very confident in that fact.
Awkward
Well-
acquaintances.
I find you a little bit intimidating, actually. That's why, sorry. It's, probably outnumbered.
One of the ones like sitting does the whole like licking a knife thing.
See?
Yeah, we can relax a little bit on that. So
Jerry,
you've clearly
I said
been
cut it out the
looking
knife
for
lick.
us. You're looking to
yeah.
do trade. I
Yeah,
imagine.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You're from the city?
Not quite. We're like from quite south of the city, actually. We sort of traveled up.
Farmers?
We were disrupted. We used to live off the land down there, but unfortunately, a bunch of the city drow came by en masse and they kicked us out. They said they needed to build something down there, and a couple of us said no, and they just killed us on the spot.
You don't look very killed to me.
Yeah, well, obviously, I left. When they killed a couple of people who said no, I said yes quite quickly, actually. I was quite amiable client,
Well, we're no friends with the elves of the city who build tall towers on the backs of creatures too daft to understand what they're doing. They laugh and drink their wine. And they fight in a war over what? Old lovers' tiff? It's pathetic.
Right? We're like so much more than that.
Uh-huh. What do you want? Southerners?
Well,
This guy who's talking to you, he does the whole, like, he sits on, it's a rock, but it has, like, some blankets and things over it, clearly handmade. And he does the whole, like, sit and puts his hands, like, between the legs.
well, you know what you say about, like, old wars and stuff? Like, we don't really care about that, but I'd kind of like to shank the person who killed one of my friends back there. But, like, I'm not, like, I just want to kill them. I don't want to have to fight them. So, like, I thought maybe some good poison would settle things. Nice and fair,
Just a kid out for revenge.
Yeah, sort of, I guess. Like, we'd also like, I mean, if you're offering a hot meal would be really, really nice. We can pay, like...
Give me a persuasion roll. That's a pretty good persuasion roll. he kind of like nods to a ceramic brazier in the middle. You know, they have like an old ceramic kind of wok that has things cooking in it and bubbling. It smells, you know, similar to the curries and things that you've had in Narashiro before, but a little more earthy, a little more natural, right? He kind of nods for you to
like real meat.
come in. Yeah, you can see chunks of meat in there, absolutely. And kind of as, you know, Indira walks past, says, "Who's this, your sister?"
No, she's like, we're like...
My husband was killed.
I understand, and my sincerest apologies for even bringing it up.
It's okay. He keeps me company now.
Everyone needs company, right?
Vale like gives Indira like a look. He's like, do you understand what you're suggesting?
One of the
He grabs his hand and like interlocks fingers.
one of the others here, who, interestingly for an elf, you know, is almost completely shaved bald with like a little bit of mohawk and stuff, and kind of thrusts a fungal wood bowl of curry into each of your hands.
Thank you.
I'm afraid we've been doing business in such an impolite way. It's due to a lack of trust, I admit. My name is Elik.
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 Nice to meet you, Elik. I'm called Tedrau. It's a southern thing. Just call me Te.
Te. And you?
Luthira.
Well, we have poisons. We're not entirely interested in coin. Is the most unfortunate thing I'm sure you'll be hearing. But
Kind of expected, actually. This curry is really good.
we live off the land. It requires strength, will, magic. It requires everything to hunt the beasts of this realm. It is not the stories told of the frozen wonderland our people hailed from, with beasts of burden that were edible. This is... We nearly lose someone every time we go out for a hunt for enough meal, only to hunt again. Life out here is a cycle. If you are keen, you could help us in some hunts, earn some poison. We cannot use this poison in the hunting, it would spoil the meat.
Sure, I think we could do that.
Okay then. This is when we swoosh, right? Would you stay with these guys, like during the time that you're here hunting, or would you kind of like come back every now and again?
Depends on India.
It would
I would follow Vale's lead entirely. Honestly.
Oh, we're gonna have like this awkward like conversation, or it gets like late, and we're like, are we heading? Oh, is that what you know? I mean, like, no, we can stay. Like that's like maybe another drink, or
If we stay here, we're gonna have to stay in the same tent because I implied that we're lovers.
You notice that like the tents as well are pretty open. By the time you're kind of having this conversation, two of the members of the camp have kind of gone off to their tent and are staying in the same tent. They're just like over there. You can see them.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. What do we do?
Elik kind of like raises a mug to you, and the drink they'd be offering you is like essentially a type of moonshine.
Indira would take one sip and be like, "We're staying."
And would motion to Vale and say, "Does this make you uncomfortable?"
Yes.
You Southerners really have some hang-ups.
Yeah, I really, I'm not. It's like not my sort of thing. I'm like.
I understand. Not everyone desires for the pleasures of the flesh. That's.
Yeah.
judgment
I
here.
don't.
She kind of gives Indira a bit of a look, like, really, this guy?
She would at that point she would slam the rest of the drink, kind of shake it off, and then grab Vale's hand and be like, "All right, let's go."
I'm not. The tents are not. It's not very funny.
I missed all of that due to audio artifacting. Sorry.
The tents are quite. This is not. It's not very funny.
Let's go. We can leave.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant to the tent.
When we see you again,
Oh,
we shall hunt. We shall
Right,
bring
yeah.
honor to your families in the next life.
Aye.
good night.
Just raises the drink as you, like, leave. And then goes and joins the people in the tent.
Oh my god, I thought you meant to go to a tent.
I did.
Oh my god.
At first.
But what if they expect?
There's no soundproofing.
It's been a while. I'm gonna get cranky if I keep thinking about this, so we should just head out.
Oh, that's funny. Alright, you head back home.
Head out, Vale.
Head out.
She like heads off ahead and Vale's like, wait.
So, this is going to be a very simple downtime check, right? You're going to go off hunting with these guys a few times. Can you just give me a check based either your strength or dex? Because, Vale's a dex fighter and Indira's a strength fighter. Just a basic. Because this, you're going out hunting. You're going out to fight monsters. This isn't like you're shooting bows from afar or anything. This is you're taking on the creatures head on to eat them.
I feel like with Vale
like
and
that.
Indira together as a hunting duo, I feel like they would be fucking phenomenal at it. So I'm excited.
Well, that's kind of what I'm expecting, right? Hello!
Like Indira would be the bait, hold them down, and Vale would jump in and slit their throat or whatever.
Absolutely.
I feel like fucking beautiful.
One moment. The as you go out to hunt, you're going through these fungal environments. The elves of the wilds, they just they live in this environment. They just completely understand this environment. They have no issue at all. They guide you around, make sure you don't get into any kind of trouble. And you would get hunting. The battles, this isn't just one hunt, right? You're going on several days of hunts. And it's pretty much exactly what you said, Doxy. Indira is great in this environment, charging into creatures head on, which is honestly the way that these guys hunt as well. Vale's sneaky, dexterous strategies aren't as good against monsters as they are against creatures. Especially when the monsters you're fighting are quite obscure and strange.
Actually, they're really good against monsters, but it's difficult to pull them off with all you loud people about.
Yeah, stuff like that. You end up hunting, cloakers, these big, almost bat-like manta ray things, stuff like that. Which honestly are pretty challenging fights. You're gonna leave injured, and then you're gonna eat, and it's gonna be great. You do a couple of those hunts, earn a bit of food for the community, and they don't eat it all, and they save some of the parts, they keep the leather, they turn as much as possible into some kind of ration for the future.
A meter-long crispy wing. Oh.
Yeah. And one of the issues as well is a lot of these Underdark beasts don't have a lot of meat, right? Edible meat, anyway. Like, there'll even be, like, you go around and you see something. It's like, oh, no, we can't eat that. We would love to. We just can't. An interesting thing would happen while you're out. It starts to rain. It's rained in the Underdark before. The sky is so far up. The cavern roof is so far up. Clouds fill the space and they get heavy with rain, and it starts to rain here in the fungal forest, which coats the alien funguses with a gloss of rain. This would be just when you're coming back from a hunt. You have a big creature on the end of some sticks that you're pulling back. Indira's from one end because she's incredibly strong. And you notice the community of the mushroom elves hurry away from the rain way more than you would expect for people who are very close to the land. And they immediately start rainproofing their little camp, pulling out more treated tarps to attach to the top of the tents and the little eating space and things like that.
What was his name? Eli?
Elik, yeah.
Elik. Elik, what is wrong with the rain here?
Does it not rain in the south?
Yeah, but it's not like acidic or anything like that.
It's not acid, it's metals that are not compatible with life. The only creatures in this realm that can consume this water are the dwarves. This is the reason why Narashiro sits where it does. It sits above a huge basin of water that they can draw upon. Anything else out here, other than the plants, this water is deadly. I don't know if it's not like that in the south. It gives you a bit of a look.
We draw our water from the springs that flow under the. We are near the breach, no? The water flows in naturally along this way. You're not familiar?
I don't know what a breach is, but underground water, I understand. Don't go drinking the rainwater. It won't kill you, but it'll leave you so weak something else will. Out this far, we're prey too.
Got it. Okay.
But there are... I think you've done good work for us. You've been hunting with us for a week now, right? You Southerners keep track of all that time, all those farming plants. Clearly you need to know what days they are. Like, some priest... He's like, actually, as I'm doing this, he's basically doing that with like a box that's made out of a hollowed out giant beetle. And it literally like lifts up the shell, kind of goes through bottles and vials and leather,
but
water
gross.
skins.
But neato.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also noticeable that this community doesn't have any kind of beast of burden beetles or anything like that either. You wanted poison. The question is what is it you want? I am sure you have no shortage of poisons you could apply to a blade. I think you were looking for something more particular. You want to kill without getting into a fight. Yes?
Yes.
And if it could be very painful.
I am more
That's
efficient.
important. What is it you're looking for?
Well, I want to kill a drow.
And you want to not be in a fight when you're doing it?
Well, the idea is that I would like it to either make the fight very swift or end the fight before it begins.
when it comes to the art of poisoning, there are many ways you can poison a creature. When it comes from the fangs of a creature, or the hide, or even the plant life around us, everything works a little bit differently. Some poison, you apply to the end of the blade. You strike your enemy, it enters their blood. That's easy. But not what I think you're looking for. There are others that you must consume. Something we would get from the hide of a giant toad or something of the sort. Things that you would inhale. Things that only need to touch to burn you. There's a lot of ways this can go.
I feel like inhalation would be good. I sort of
You want to
considered
gas?
it before.
Okay.
There
Or
is...
a projectile of some kind.
You could lace pretty much any poison onto a dart or an arrow and fire it correctly. It'll work well.
Indeed. The only risk here is that this person may have some form of resistance to poison.
If you want a poison that can poison creatures that poison, then you're going to need... We're going to need to go on a specific hunt for that.
It seems to me likely that, yes, they would have taken some precaution against poison.
I'm sure many nobles in the high society of Narashiro protect themselves from the likelihood of a serf or slave trying to poison their afternoon tea.
Exactly, right? So like something really, really like, difficult to resist, I guess.
Come back to me after some rest. We'll have to draft up a particular hunt to a creature so poisonous. But we can do this.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Have our sincerest gratitude.
You worked for it. Now, get your rest, have your fun. Go to wherever it is you go when you leave here.
Right, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Alrighty. And actually, I think this is a great place to take a little breakerino. Back in a couple of minutes. And, yeah, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you then.